Well, I think I was the most excited for two reasons today. Hold on, I hit the microphone. Damn it. Okay.
3, 2, 1, action.
Well, there's two main things I was excited about today. One is after 4 months, you are back in the office.
Woohoo!
And number two, we have Kim Steele, who's kind of a big deal, and that rhymes,
Kind of a big deal.
on today's episode of the Signature Spotlight Studio, where we shine the spotlight on an agent that is oh so bright. Kim Steele, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, John. How are you?
I'm doing good. But you guys are here together.
I know.
We like being together.
We do.
We've already talked before the show a little bit, and this is going to be very interesting.
I'm sure.
It's gonna be.
Let me just
very
say that
exciting.
she wanted me and Chris in here at the same time. No.
Just too much chaos, just crazy.
Times this by 100 because
Right.
it's exponential. It's not just like, oh, one more person. It's like exponential effects, like the Richter scale.
Well, and that's the thing is you guys are two big personalities. Like just by your own selves, you guys are your own amazingness. But when you guys blend yourselves together, it's pretty badass. So,
Yeah, thank you.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So I think that's a good starting point. How did you meet Mr. Chris?
Oh, Lord.
I love
Okay.
love stories. So here we go.
Oh, boy. Okay, so we actually met in Iraq in 2003.
Okay.
I don't remember meeting him.
Okay.
He was really special.
You know, when you're a female Marine in country and you haven't bathed in 4 months and your, like, ratio is, like, 2,000 to 1, nobody's special.
Yeah.
You're special. So, anyway, when we really developed a friendship that was lasting was about 2007 in 29 Palms. And we met on the job. He was still active duty. He was a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps. I actually got out in 2005, and I was working for General Dynamics on command and control systems, C2 systems, doing training, systems admin, stuff like that. There was a system in particular that it was really new, and there was only like one person per coast that actually knew how to do the system, and I was the West Coast person. So Chris basically got sent to come see me by his command to get the scoop on the system.
It was special delivery.
Yeah. So he showed up on a
government.
motorcycle, and he got off the motorcycle, and I was like, oh God. I was like, and my boss had told me, like, my boss came to me that morning, and he said, hey, he was a staff sergeant at the time. He wasn't even a gunny yet, which is an E6. And my boss had came to me early, like when I first got in that morning, and he said, hey, Staff Sergeant McCullough from TTCG is going to come. He wants to come talk to you about CPOF. And me and my boss, I wasn't a fan. So I just figured, like, guilt by association. Like, anybody this guy introduces me to, automatically a tool. Like, automatic douchebag status, like, whatever. So I'm standing there, and he shows up on his crotch rocket with his jacket and his hat, and I'm like, Jesus. And I don't think we ever actually talked about CPOF. We talked about Jeeps. We talked about alcohol. We talked about horses. We talked about the Marine Corps. And I don't think we ever actually talked about CPOF. We spent about 4 hours together. And according to Chris's version of the story, Chris, which he just told at Adam's wedding during his best man toast, Chris went back to his office, and he was known as a little bit of a player. He went back to his office and told the captain and the major that he just met the girl he was going to marry.
Wow.
I love that.
And then I friend zoned him for 6 years. Actually, like 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Little FZ friend zone.
Yeah. That's a bad word now. Did you know that?
No.
You're, like, not supposed to say friend zone anymore now?
Why not?
God.
I don't know. It's some kind of, like,
What new zone is it?
I don't know.
Is there a zone anymore?
I don't think so.
It's the non-gender, non-friend, non-relational
Well,
zone.
so what I've understood from some of the feminism circles that I don't really move in, but, you know, there's some overlap.
We learned.
Friend zone implies that you're denying him sex because he's a nice guy. Implies that the default setting is that you should be doing that. Yeah, so that's why friend zone's like apparently no longer a politically correct term.
That's
Wow.
really sad, and I should probably use it more often.
Totally, totally.
So you go right up to the line and then you
Cross it.
cross it. That's right.
100%.
Isn't that what lines are for?
Yeah.
So did you, on that day for the 4 hours, was there something that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to marry this guy? Or not yet?
No.
Not yet, because
No.
that was before the friend zone. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so I had just moved up there, and we hit it off like really well as friends.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, we're into a ton of the same stuff, and that's it. And we kind of had some of the same circles of friends, and we started.
But did you
going
think
to
he was cute?
in that environment, you're so jaded because you're so outnumbered. And you're so, I mean, even though we were back in the States.
So everyone's cute or no one's cute?
No one's cute.
Oh, okay.
Because even though we were back in the States, I mean, 29 Palms is basically a mini Afghanistan. Like,
Let's go there.
right?
What's his nickname? Is it Black Hole or something like that? Or
Oh, it has so many nicknames.
Okay.
Yeah, Stomps, and yeah, there's many nicknames. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're just so jaded because you're so outnumbered, and everybody. It's just ridiculous. Like you can totally just go to the bar in your sweatpants and like take your pick. Like you can do whatever you want, being a girl in that environment.
Maybe that's where I went
insane.
wrong.
Yeah. So
Join
yeah,
the
I
military,
wouldn't.
Susan.
I wasn't.
Oh.
I wasn't looking
Yeah.
because I just wasn't. So yeah.
So then how did it turn into it? Like, did he come ask you out 5 years later? You looked at each other and you're like, oh, we're at the bottom of a hill in a Jeep and we're having a sleepover? What happened?
Put my business out there. Okay, so
Welcome to the show.
no, went to parties together. So eventually what happened was his command, after probably about another year, they needed their own me. Like they needed their own field engineer, and they actually went and they went to the government, got the funding, got the money to build a contract to have their own field engineer there. And I already lived in 29 Palms, and trust me, trying to recruit a civilian to go move to 29 Palms on purpose isn't easy. I already lived there, and I already knew the systems that they needed me to know. So I was just kind of a natural shoo-in, and I was like miserable at the position I was in. So I was kind of a natural shoo-in into that position. So now we work together. Still really good friends, like party together even more now. Went to the field together every day. So I think it just really blossomed, like, because we were together all the time and we had everything in common. And we used to roll out to the field. We'd either roll in a Govy, like a government vehicle, or we'd roll out in the Jeep. And we'd be in the Jeep or the vehicle for like 6 hours. I mean, that's an enormous base. So it's like the largest military base in the U.S. It's huge. You're like literally driving halfway to Vegas if you go to the other side of that base. So, and you're going like 15 miles an hour. So we would be in the vehicle hours and hours and hours and hours a week. And we had the same hobbies, like fucking with the comm officers and making them pee their pants. So
Now there's a hobby.
Totally.
When I grow up.
well, so every 28 days, it was a 28-day training cycle. And units came from every unit in the Marine Corps had to pass through that pre-deployment training program in order to get the check in the box to deploy. And so they were, they were there to impress the Coyotes, which was us, and succeed and get all the green checks and all the right boxes so they didn't get in trouble, basically. And so, yeah, we would go out there and just kind of like make them pee their pants a little bit. And every 28 days, we got to start over with a fresh. It was amazing. It was like almost as good as, I was never a drill instructor, but I feel like it probably was almost as good as being a drill instructor, except without the crappy schedule and yelling.
And there's my goal. I just want you to know that now that I'm 58, I can sometimes just pee my pants too.
Oh.
You don't even have to make me.
Okay,
it's
'cause
just
I don't wanna make you
involuntary.
pee your pants. And it's kind of hot in here, so don't,
is
don't
hot
pee
in
your
here, right?
pants
It's-
because it'll smell and stuff. But yeah, we kind of just really bonded. I mean, he was always so we'd be on these super long vehicle rides, and he would always just be telling me about his latest relationship fail, and there were many. And like when your friend, guy or girl, doesn't matter, your friend like tells you, about their latest relationship fail, and like usually you at least on some level can be like, wow, I'm really sorry that happened. Like she sounds like a
Yeah.
Can I say cunt?
Yeah.
She sounds like a cunt. Oh shit. Edit.
Keep
What
going.
did we go back to?
No, keep going.
Anyway,
So you couldn't fake the disappointment?
no, it wasn't even that. It was, so, when your friend has a relationship fail, guy or girl, you want to be, normally, even if your friend's like a little bit wrong, normally, because they're your friend, you can kind of be like, wow, I'm really sorry that happened. Like, that person sounds like, a little bit of a tool. I'm really sorry they did that to you or whatever. With Chris, it was like, he would tell me this stuff, and I would look over at him, and I would be like, that's your fault. Like, that's 100%, you're a caveman. What is wrong with you? You're a Neanderthal. Like, and then as that went on months and months and months, it slowly started morphing into like, you're super hot. Like, I would totally sleep with you, but I would never date you. You're a caveman.
Oh my gosh.
Totally. Never date. And then one night we had a shop party. Somebody's birthday or something. I don't remember. We had a shop party at the bowling alley and we got really, really drunk. And the rest is kind of just history. Like, that's
Aww.
Yeah.
And then you lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
It really is romantic.
Yeah.
And so when this is in 2010?
This is in 2010.
10. Okay. So this is when things are starting to merge together. And are you in real estate at this
Sure.
point? Are you?
No.
No, you hadn't started real estate until when?
Well, Chris was flipping.
Yeah.
He was flipping on the side, but I wouldn't say we were in real estate.
Okay.
I definitely wasn't. I was still DOD contracting. So shortly after that, we both went to Afghanistan at the same time, and we got back in September 2011. And we wanted to buy a house. That was and we always wanted to buy a house in Fallbrook. Because when you're in the Marine Corps, you drive through Fallbrook all the time, and you look around, you're like, wow, I could never afford any of those houses because I'm in the Marine Corps. But Chris always told himself, one day I'm going to buy a house in Fallbrook because it's really beautiful. Like, the route you take to go through there on the convoys is like the Santa Margarita, like that whole view spreads out, and it's really pretty. So we wanted to buy a house in Fallbrook. We just got back from Afghanistan. We had the money. We both had good paychecks coming in, so we finally, and it was short sale like time, like
Good
2011, 2012.
Prime picking right there.
Totally. So, so we got our house in Fallbrook, and then we spawned, we bred, and I wanted out of the DOD at that point. I didn't want to keep deploying and being gone, being on trips, even just trips to, like, I was always, if I wasn't in country, I was still always like somewhere. Like, I was never home, and which was great. Like, as a single, like, I had a blast. But as a mom, I didn't want to keep doing that. So,
And did you join the Marine Corps at 18, 19 kind of thing, or in your 20s?
no, 24.
Oh, wow.
I was an old, they called me grandmom in boot camp. Yeah.
So what made you go into the Marine Corps?
Boredom.
You just wanted the biggest challenge possible?
Totally. Yeah. Total boredom. Like, literally. So my best friend at the time back in Philly was joining, and we were going to go in the reserves because I had a really good job. I went to college, and I was a design editor of a newspaper down in Charlotte, Charlotte Business Journal. And, I mean, for a 24-year-old, like 23, I mean, I was doing okay, single and whatever. And my best friend was still back in Philly. She's a couple years younger than me, and she was just like going to community college, and she's like, I'm not really feeling this. So she's like, I'm going to join the reserves. And it was just like going to be this adventure. Like, we're going to go to boot camp, and then they're going to send us off to some school to learn some job for like 6 months. And then we're going to come back, and we're going to the base every week, the first weekend of every month and do our reserve stuff. Like, that'll be cool, and I'll just keep my job. And then the recruiter, they get their hooks in you, man, and it's over. It's over. Like, I don't even know what happened. Like, I was on a bus and I was active duty, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, did I even remember to quit my job? Like,
That's a good recruiter.
Seriously.
Is that where you learned all your recruiting skills?
No. You know what? My recruiter was like super dumb.
Really?
Like me and my best friend Patty. Like, she's still my friend on Facebook, so she'll actually watch this, and she'll probably be dying. But because he was like a total ASVAB waiver. Like he couldn't spell like basic words. I mean, it was like, So I don't know, but he just had a knack for that. He was a rainmaker, so to speak.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's how that happened.
So Chris is flipping houses. You guys got your place in Fallbrook. You made little baby humans, and then you're like, I'm gonna get my real estate license.
Yeah, pretty much. So of course, the field was ripe for the picking for flippers, and we had, we went to the investor club meetings and stuff, so we knew other flippers, and everybody's biggest complaint was always like, man, realtors suck. I'm so sick of their shit. Like, they don't call you back. They charge me all this money. They don't even do anything. And so I had been interested in getting my license for a while, but I just, didn't have time, whatever. So put it off. And Chris was finally like, you need to get your license so we can stop giving realtors our money. Like, I don't want to give them my money anymore because they suck. I'm like, all right, fine. So that's the only reason I got my license. I never marketed myself. It was just like our little inner circle of flippers.
So what is this,
deals.
2014?
This is 12 going into 13. Yeah, till the end of 13. It took me a while because I kept freaking getting pregnant and having newborns and like
Couldn't keep
not
caveman
having
off
time
of you.
to study. I only have 2 kids, but I feel like during that time I had like 8. So, yeah.
And the reason I'm asking this is because it seemed like overnight, all of a sudden, KSA was everywhere. Like, you guys, whether it was your graphic designs or whatever it was, I remember showing houses in Fallbrook, and your signs were, like, everywhere. And I don't know if that was just strategic placement or if you literally had 20 listings.
We did. We took off really quick, and that is 100% a testament to Chris. Yeah. That man is a marketing genius. Mm-hmm. He's a social media genius. Mm-hmm. He's a community relations genius, and he's a prospecting rainmaker. And combine all of that together, and yeah, we did go from, because again, while the flipping was still hot, it was just Kim, the realtor nobody heard of, that nobody cared, and did the inside deals for the flippers. Mm-hmm. And then when that market started to change and we couldn't find flips anymore, we were literally we had a little office with our other partner for our little flip business. We were literally just in the parking lot one day. I'm pretty sure we'd been drinking. And Chris was like, dude, you know what? We should just all get a real estate license. And I'm like, okay, well, I already have mine, so. And we literally just decided we were going to start a team. And we did.
Yep.
And yeah, it was overnight because that man is that good at what he does. I mean, we went from nobody ever heard of us to we had 15 listings on the street within, 4 or 5 months.
One of the things I wanted to talk about is your guys' success, I think, is a direct correlation to your amazingness, Chris's and yours combined, and then you have a team around you. But I think, and you'll probably attest to this too, is that what do realtors really suck at? It's discipline and consistency. Mm-hmm. What does the Marine Corps teach you? Mm-hmm. Right? Totally. As much as because if you can be out in 29 Palms doing whatever crap they're having you do and do it consistently and with discipline, to get into real estate, and it's a lucrative business.
Well, it's all about self-accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have it like no other.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are amazing at that.
Yeah, but the other thing is they're the dynamic duo in that one is gifted in this one area and the other the other. And she is by far, I have a contract crush on her at all times because I know that this woman knows the contract like the back of her hand.
Inside and
out. Or the
out,
back of Chris's hand, whoever.
Yeah.
And so I am never worried about anything because I know that she knows how to teach the consumers how to go through the process. So he does that beautiful marketing and then uses this pretty face to go out and do it, but she's all brains. She's all brains. If I'm going to go to battle with somebody, I want to.
And I'm not a rainmaker. My mom had to sell my Girl Scout cookies at work. I'm dead serious. I've never been a door knocker. I've never been a cold salesperson. It's just not what I'm good at. I get mad when people put crap on my car, so I don't want to go out and put crap on people's car. I get mad when I get spam calls, so I don't want. You know what I mean? It's just. It's never been what I'm good at. But and Adam, let's not leave Adam out of the equation. They're so good at being rainmakers and being marketing geniuses that I can focus on the things that, frankly, they're not good at, which is the legalities and the contracting and the compliance, the DRE, and walking the client through the little legalities of the transaction. They hate that stuff.
Yeah.
So whereas you enjoy
I love it.
Oh, really?
I love it. I thrive on it. The more the merrier. So it's a perfect symbiotic relationship. And then Adam, especially, like looking at where he's come to in his maturity when it comes to training and mentoring and coaching these agents, like no other. I mean, he's taking that rainmaking that he has that's really just an inherent talent. Of course, there's always going to be education and learning and improving, but at some point that's an inherent talent. And imparting that to them and watching like somebody who had their license for 60 days that has 3 open escrows and a $900,000 listing.
Yeah.
That's had
incredible.
a license for less than 60 days. That's amazing.
You change people's lives, literally.
Every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. And then she has that niche of people that she provides service to, which is, come on, who do you work with the most? Who's your favorite people in the world? Who do I think your favorite people in the world are? The VA.
Oh.
All the veterans and the Marines.
Yeah.
Oh my
but,
gosh.
I mean, to me, that's just a thing around here. You know, if you don't know how to do that, you're going to fail because we're in a military area. But it does help. You know, that's a very loyal, it's all about loyalty. And when they hear that you're a Marine, they, you know, and we actually have a couple Navy guys, and they will sometimes connect with these guys that are Navy guys. So we have a couple Navy guys on the team now.
Is everyone on the team military?
No.
Interesting.
No.
Okay.
Adam's not.
Just Adam?
Gosh, I feel like just about everybody else is, though.
How big is your team now?
Oh my God, you guys are putting me on the spot.
I don't know. You feel
Because you have quite the squad. Like.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of them are ISAs. So,
Okay.
which, you know, that's our intern program. They learn on the phones how to rainmake before they even get a license. And that's how you wind up with, again, 45, 60 days in. You already have deals in the pipeline. You're already making money.
Interesting.
But, gosh, what are we up to now?
Well, there's 6 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because Anna's never there. And you're 8.
I think we're at like 12 total, counting the ISAs.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, there are many reasons I was excited about today. One was you coming back, and we need to jump into your story real quick. But, you know, you like I said, as of about 5 years ago, you're all of a sudden everywhere. And I started back in 2008, and so, you know, I was doing my little thing, but you guys just came out like, we're going to take over. I'm like, oh, I guess KSA's here. It's like, geez.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I'm a big fan.
Oh, we're big fans of you too. And the day that I don't know why I didn't know. I don't remember if like either you were keeping it a secret or like I had gotten sick and I wasn't here for a couple days or something. But I remember the day that you walked into the office and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Bald Guy Red Tie's going to give a presentation today because you often have people that don't work here come in and speak or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then I found out you were joining us and I'm like,
starstruck, huh?
Totally, dude. And Signature picked up so many rock stars this year.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like every office meeting. It's like
The who's
Bob
who.
Cadez is joining. The Harpers are joining. Like, it's like, I can't even think of everyone else, but it's like almost every single monthly meeting now. It's like, and this team or this person, and you're like, oh my God. Like, it's insane. It's almost like I'm every month I'm wondering who's next. Like, oh, who's it going to be this month? Like,
Oh, wait.
I know, right?
It's coming.
It's been just such an awesome year to be back here. I've been so excited to be back here.
And I'm just curious, what is Signature Real Estate Group ranked at? We're in the top 10, right? Is it top?
While I was gone.
Okay.
While I was gone, it was established that no one needs me. And we became
Kim was
number
here.
one. We became number 1. She did. She took care of everything.
Yeah.
while I
No,
was
not
down
everything.
for the
We had
count.
Christina and we had Nash, but
Yeah,
I was the contract questions
Yes,
designated person.
Yes, yeah, I think she was glad when I came back.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And so what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, we were doing this series in the show up until about May, and then you went for a wonderful, lifelong desired trip to Israel, and this is a bucket list item. You're going to walk on water with Jesus. You're going to go into the tomb and come out resurrected. Like, this is a big event.
Yes.
And tell us about your trip. How'd that play out?
Well, sometimes it doesn't go the way you plan. No. Because God likes to, shake it up a little bit.
Right.
So, I was trying to do the right thing and help someone take a picture.
Never do the right thing.
No,
Okay, got it.
no.
Not even in the Holy Land.
Not even. I wasn't twice.
Right.
I went to take a step on a bottom stair, and I was going to straddle the stair because normal people can straddle a stair.
Not a 57.
Well, that bottom stair actually wasn't horizontal. It was a little bit vertical.
Okay.
And my right foot decided to, it didn't do good, the lack of horizontal, and it slid out from under me, and my left foot got caught under the stair that it was standing on, and so my body went one way, my foot went the other way.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't know who it was, but somebody sent me a picture of it, and your leg is sticking out straight, and then literally your foot is
sideways,
90 degrees, whatever.
Yeah. And that's after, when you're in shock and you hurt yourself, it's amazing because you think you have superpowers. So I saw it and I'm like, wrong direction. And so I banged it against the stair to try to make it go straight. So you saw it after crazy lady went, oh, I can fix it. I got this. And and then I just said, oh, it's broken, and then had the wonderful trip of a lifetime of getting home, getting surgery, and I'm really glad to be
Without
back.
pain medication this entire time.
Well, they don't, give opioids to Americans right away out there. So
Had to find some back alley deals.
I confess that I know how to do a drug deal in Israel. I do, and I paid thousands of dollars to accomplish it, and I'm not ashamed. I'm not.
Well, I can't imagine the pain that you're in.
The shock of the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you just go, I love the Lord. I do. And I really do believe that you can do all things. And
He put you through the test that time.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And I will say that there's that battle in the mind against the body. And my foot was definitely winning for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But then I snapped out. God snapped me out. And so I didn't walk for a little while. I'm glad to be walking, glad to be vertical again, glad to be back home. And I couldn't be more thankful because only, these people, Kim Steele, Christina Hudson, Chris, the staff here came alongside me that I never would have imagined. I knew they were able, but then they brought the office to #1 while I was gone. And that's just a testimony
incredible.
to the collaboration, the synergy, the compassion of what everybody does here.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not me because I wasn't here, but they were.
It's you.
Well, I'm sure you could say this too, is that for those couple months when she wasn't here, there's definitely a different energy in the office. Not saying that it was bad, but it was just not Susan level energy because you bring it every single day. Like you light people up, you know what I mean? And so to have you back is refreshing and amazing. But what you're saying though is
your love, and I mean, not, it's gonna sound like Hallmark and corny, but your love and energy that you give this is here, whether you're physically here or not. And I think it was almost like, I mean, like when Daddy's deployed and the kids either rebel,
right,
and go crazy, or they're like, wow, I miss my dad so bad. I want him to come home and see that I got straight A's and scored my first touchdown. And the kids and it was like everybody wanted you to come back to this. I mean, and it was totally subconscious. It wasn't like we stood around by the couch and talked about well, let's do this so Susan can be impressed. But I think everybody just had this subconscious push, you know what? We're not going to let her down. We're not going to have her come back and be like, oh my God, what were you guys doing? We want her to come back and be like, oh my God, you guys just knocked it out. And again, really totally subconscious on that, or semi-conscious on that. But I think that's a testament to the energy and the love that you give everybody here.
I think everybody has that same level of love, and that's what makes us successful.
You certainly attract a certain type of agent here, and I think it's been nothing but momentum since 2016 once you opened, got the party started here, because it seems like every year it gets better and better.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in 2020.
Oh, me too.
But I think the word's out that this is an incredible office. Aesthetically, it's one of the most beautiful offices I've seen. I mean, I'm sure you've gone to a lot of real estate offices where it's just a line of cubicles and just kind of this weird cold feeling to it, and just it's awkward, and everybody's kind of covering the work like, get away. It's very territorial.
Yes.
And very secretive, and nobody's out to help you. But it's like, you have Kim Steele and Associates and all the team, and Chris and all these top producers. And I love when we do our monthly meetings because you're like, all right, guys, here she is. Ask her questions. Like literally the person that just started yesterday can pick your brain. And you have that heart to serve.
Yeah.
And you're so willing to share those, secrets. Like,
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. So.
Yeah, she's one of a kind.
Yeah.
She's one of a kind. And she's an expert at what she does.
Yeah.
And so I don't have enough words. It makes me cry, and I'm not going to cry, but I might. It makes me have hope that the industry has people in it that believe in it, that are making a difference, not only in the community, but in our industry, because it needed to be changed. We are not used car salespeople.
It still does. We're not even close to
yeah.
what needs to happen in this industry.
Yeah.
And I was actually having a conversation with another individual in this office right before I walked in here about, you know, stuff that just from the top down and everywhere in between it needs
it's broken.
Reform. It needs reform.
It really does.
You know.
And there needs to be a little bit more collaboration, a little bit more understanding, clarification. Mm-hmm. But the thing I love is that we have different flavors of ice cream in this office.
Susan's 31 flavors.
Yes, and all ice cream is delicious,
yeah.
right? And I do love all ice cream. And there's just so many different personalities and characters and dynamics. And I think that's what makes it special. But this is just one of my favorite flavors of ice cream. It just really, really is. She is a root beer float with whipped cream and a cherry.
And vodka. Don't forget the vodka.
Well, there's vodka.
What kind of Sundays are you eating? Jeez, I didn't come to your house and eat Sundays. Man.
I think she's changed the industry. There's people like, and I'm going to name drop Lisa Force, who are the innovators in this industry. And then we go and we see it, and then we mirror that excellence. And I just believe that is something she is. Her and Chris and KSA are innovators. They're changing the dynamic. They're making the branding accessible and understood, and they're doing it with excellence. And so it's an honor for me as a broker to be working with these guys. I mean, it's a complete honor.
It's the brokerage that's so damn good. I joined it twice.
Oh, I was a different name before too.
That's right.
It was a fail though. It was
oops, we learned.
Fail.
We learned.
Yeah, and that's how we learn.
That's
and
right.
I have no
I don't even look
resentment.
at it as a fail anymore.
No, me neither.
I mean,
it's an experience.
You know, you go through that phase.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a divorce or a really bad breakup or even a death.
Yeah.
Because you do put so much love into it.
Yeah.
And you go through that phase where you're like, oh my God, you guys, we failed.
Yeah.
Like, we said we were going to go do this thing. And of course, there's always the corner with the haters in it that's like, you'll fail. And then you do, and you're like, crap. Like, they were totally right. We failed. But then to realize, like, you just restructured.
Yep.
We restructured when we left here and built the brokerage, and we restructured right back in here because we realized that wasn't the structure that fit what we were trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
So, and now, almost a year later, it's been almost a year, can you believe it?
Wow.
Almost a year
That went
later,
fast.
it's, you know, again, like a breakup, a divorce or something like that, you
have your grieving time.
You have your grieving
Yeah.
time, you have your, I mean, you really do go through the stages of grief.
Yeah.
Anger, denial, all of that. Hating yourself, you know, blaming yourself, and then making your deals with God.
Negotiating with the big guy.
Negotiating with the big guy. And, you know, over time, you do just eventually get to the place where you're like, you know what? That wasn't a fail.
No.
It was certain things definitely didn't freaking work out right, or work out the way we planned. But when I look at how this all turned out, the past year being back here, I don't know how I can call any of that a fail.
No.
I really don't. I really don't. But it was very, there was definitely a depression period at the time, which
a recovery
which
for
wasn't
a second.
being hidden at all.
Yeah.
Like I was Eeyoring my way around here until at least about April.
I didn't see any Eeyore. I'm a believer. I'm a believer from the beginning, from the first time I met them. And then the first time I met her was actually through our mutual friend who I dearly love, David Serpa.
Love David.
And that was when we were beginning this journey of collaboration and synergy and making a difference in our worlds with teams.
Yeah.
And so I'm always thankful for the connections and the relationships that brought us to the places we are.
Absolutely.
And-
And it's such a miracle. I mean, I even look at it like with Chris, like with our marriage, like all the chance things, Marine Corps sets of orders and all the chance things that had to happen for us to meet and had
Yeah.
the chance to fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same thing. So we met David Serpa because we walked into an open house.
Yeah.
Because we had just listed a home in that neighborhood, and quite frankly, it was one of our first listings ever outside of Fallbrook. And we were like, I hope we did this right. And we were driving around. I'll never forget, it was pouring rain, and we saw open house signs, and we're like, well, let's go see what this guy's doing. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And during that time, he was the open house king.
Yes.
He
and
was
man.
Chris and I
crushing it.
walked in, and, of course, he introduced himself, and we disclosed right away that we were agents, and, we worked down in Fallbrook. And then the Marine Corps, oh, what do you do? Oh, well, I'm still in the Marine, and of course, that immediately kicked off the connection. And we became friends, and he really became a mentor of ours.
Yeah.
And then when things were no longer a fit at that brokerage that we were at that time, and he knew we were looking, he's like, you can't, we talked to KW. Of course, you go down the line of the usual suspects you're going to interview. He's like, you can't sign or do anything until you meet my broker. Mm-hmm. You're going to love her. And I'm looking at Chris, I'm like, what's this guy getting out of this? And she came down to our office, and, like this, our office in Fallbrook was like the size of the studio. And it was in the ghetto.
It was not.
It was in the ghetto.
It was not.
She came down to our office, and I'm pretty sure I fell in love with her.
Immediately.
Immediately.
Well, Susan has this way of lighting up a room within
Totally.
seconds.
Totally.
Literally within seconds.
It wasn't that. It was that they had a vision and they had a purpose, and I knew they could make it come true here.
Yeah.
Because we have the freedom and flexibility to do that.
Yeah.
Because we're not under some franchise that says, no, you can't do that. There was a lot of yes, you can, oh, yes, you can, oh, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And
We joined in the
that
summer,
was-
and I'll never forget it was my first, I was coming to my first office meeting. I won't drop names of where I was coming from,
Okay.
brokerage-wise, but it was a bit on the oppressive side of certain things. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, I called her the night before, and I said, what's the dress code? Or because it was July and it was hot. I'm like, what's the dress code? Or do I have to wear long sleeves and cover up my tattoos? And she's like, what? I'm like, would you prefer if I, and she's like, I don't care.
No.
And I'm like, oh.
Come as you are.
Yeah, I didn't know this could be a thing because I was
Yeah.
being pigeonholed,
Yeah.
which was one of the smaller problems we had with
Yeah.
brokerage, but it was one of them. It was like, we're not those people.
Mm-hmm.
We're not
Yeah.
suits.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
I do what I have to do for an appointment. I don't go like this,
Yeah.
but I'm not a suit day to day, and I never will
But you
be.
do charge. Turn around. But you do charge.
And antitrust
You do
violation
charge.
in 3, 2,
There you go. Give Steele
6%.
6%, just in case you didn't know.
Hi, dearie.
So the joke with the DRE is that Kim is definitely on their radar, I think. They just
Yeah.
love sending her love letters and stuff like that. So
Yep.
I'm not alone.
no, they're out with a vengeance, it seems like.
I think
It's not
just,
them, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's other.
yeah.
It's some of our cohorts.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the DRE, I'm sorry, I don't care what your job is. They don't sit around and comb through stuff all day unless someone sends them something to comb through.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a tough business, man. It's a jungle.
Oh, it is. It is.
But the more we rise to the top, that more that's going to happen. And so you
Right.
just be prepared and you be above
Absolutely.
board. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There isn't anything that we're trying to do illegal, hide, or unethical in any way, shape, or form. It's not who I am.
Right.
Right.
And these guys are my hands and feet. And if something goes wrong, then it just went wrong and it wasn't a malicious intent.
Right.
Right.
And so, here's the rules. And when they're clear, we're able to follow them. When they're not, it's not so easy to follow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when they're not,
Yeah.
when they're selectively enforced.
Yes. Yes.
Because you can't memorize every single rule.
Yeah.
And so, just social media as an example, when you
Yeah.
scroll every day and you see that, you see real estate posts from hundreds of agents, because most of us have hundreds of agents
yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
friends with, and you see and you're like, oh, that's pretty. That's a pretty, whatever flyer. And you get ideas. You're not stealing ideas, but you're
Yeah.
like, oh, that, I might try something else. It's artistic, whatever. Your brain, it's not a conscious thing, but your brain starts to say, oh, well, that's, a thing I could do, or that's what it's supposed to look like, because
Yeah.
you see it hundreds of times a day. And unless you really, really look at it and really, really know compliance, which I would consider us, we're both pretty compliance
know,
gurus. Most people aren't because it's that complicated. And not realizing 98 of those 100 posts that you just got cool ideas from, marketing ideas, were non-compliant.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're not trying to deceive the public. They're not trying to. It's like, well, the font size wasn't big enough. It's like, well, because it's Instagram to Facebook and we can't control the platform to platform. And, so much of it is even out of your control on a third-party platform that changes and updates every 30 days.
Yeah.
It looked right on Instagram last month, but now it looks wrong.
Yeah. That just happened.
Who has time to police
that
all of
literally
that?
just happened.
Yeah.
And we got a love letter, and I'm like, I talked to those people 7 months ago, and it was corrected, and then we go back, and it doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
Something got refreshed, and it was something out of our control.
Yeah.
And so I think just continuing to educate about teams so people aren't afraid, so they see the supervision, so they understand the mentorship of it, and what it is that they're trying to do. I think that's scary to old school because it's a little bit new school, but we will teach them how it's being done and the benefits that are just truly there. Because it's nice to have a leader like her teaching you the contracts and protecting you and saying this is how this works, and then you can go out and protect the consumer. There's nothing like that. That's important.
Well, and I mean, I always say, especially now after having my own brokerage, you're brilliant for having these teams with all these amazing team leads, because you have, how many agents are here now? How many agents are at Signature?
185.
some.
Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine if, and not saying that you don't supervise everybody, but imagine if you didn't have the buffer of the team lead in between to be that mentor. If you didn't have the team lead to answer the most basic of RPA question that they're going to ask 22 times before they finally remember, or the most basic, like, how do I search the MLS? Or, I'm monitoring my agent's social media for compliance every day.
Yeah.
And I'm hitting them up if I find something. Imagine if you had to do that times 180. So it kind of establishes a chain of command. I mean, it's almost like the Marine Corps. Like, the colonel's not supervising 500 Lance Corporals. There's, other ranks and platoons and in between there. So I think it's brilliant, because I did open a brokerage with almost 100, that swelled to almost 100 people in under a year. And I only had a couple of teams that were smaller teams. And it was basically just a bunch of individuals. Yeah. And when you had the ones that were newer or that didn't know things, I mean, I was up, 24/7 literally. Yeah. All day, every day.
With an ulcer.
Phone calls, questions, texts, the same question 45 times. I would do the training, do the video, didn't matter. So you cannot police all that on your own without a layer of the leads in between.
So I have a question. Yeah. First of all, I love your children. How many kids do you have?
2.
How old are they?
5 and 6.
What's their names?
Devin and Mattis.
Where'd they get their names?
Ask about their middle names. Okay, so Devin, I actually just liked the sound of. And it's funny because Devin, we had a boy name picked out, and Devin was actually the girl name that we had picked out. And we went and had the ultrasound, and I was kind of teary a little bit when we were coming out, and Chris was like, oh my God, are you disappointed that it's a boy? And I'm like, no, I'm not disappointed that it's a boy, but I just really like the name Devin. And he's like, we can name a boy Devin. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's Devin.
What's his middle name?
His middle name is Jameson.
Wonder where we got that.
We'll tell him when he's 25. And Mattis is named after General Mattis, who Chris and I both served under. And
what's his middle name?
Killian.
That's a fighter name right there.
They're just the nicest little people.
Yeah.
Is what they are. They're just so sweet. Yeah. And they look just like their mom and dad. And I got to play ping pong with them the other day.
Yes, that was the cutest thing ever. I was so hoping you weren't going to fall down and break your hip. She's hobbling
You're at that age.
No, not your age, because your ankle. She's hobbling around the ping pong table, holding onto the edge, and Mattis is just running around her in circles, and I'm like, oh man, this isn't gonna end well.
Yeah.
They're awesome kids. They're 1 grade apart, kindergarten and first, and their classrooms are 2 rooms apart, so they're 8 feet from each other. They're little classroom doors. It's just, they're so close to each other and so kind to each other.
Yeah.
And they're just good kids. I don't like bratty kids. I'm not one of those people that likes all kids. I don't. I don't like all dogs either. You know when you go on a listing appointment, like the dog's just an ass, and like
I'm not listing your house. Your dog.
Seriously, the dog's like eating your pants, and the lady's like, "Oh, Charlie," and she gives it a cookie, and you're like, "Oh, well, no wonder your dog's an asshole." So, same thing with kids, and like my kids are good.
Yeah.
And I take no credit for it whatsoever. Like,
yeah,
look at me. Like, we just got genetically lucky. Like, I don't really take much credit for how freaking good my kids are.
Mixed well genetically.
You should be taking credit for it. And I love watching when Chris puts him on screen.
Oh, yeah.
And that he's part of the Blitz or he's part of one of the podcasts.
They've totally been on the Real Estate Blitz.
Yes, yeah, because they are just so cute. And when he just even does the little selfie stuff and puts it on Facebook. Mm-hmm. It's nice to be able to know the families of the people who are out there changing the industry. Because here's the people that are leaving this legacy and creating this thing for them. And so, okay, so are you going to have any more kids? No. No? I would just have so many more if I could.
No, I can't. So that was a choice.
Obviously, I'm good in between my bad choices.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh my God, Susan, for real?
Yeah. Do you want to just do tomorrow? Where do you see
right.
yourself tomorrow?
My desk with a hangover, duh. 5 years, so, well, here's what I will put out there. As you know, we are starting an expansion team in Vegas.
Yes.
Sean Pachalski, one of my agents, is really kind of spearheading that under the guise of the KSA brand. And it's very, very infancy right now. I mean, it's in no possible way is it really launched. We're still doing a lot of the research about the branding and the compliance and what's legal and the licensing. And he's got his license, so we can do business there.
Yeah.
But I mean, we haven't launched off into any of the branding or anything like that yet. But that is by the end of the year. We're hoping for full launch. Yeah, so we're really excited about that. I won't be moving to Vegas. I just won't.
Done enough time in the desert, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I feel like it would shorten my life expectancy. So, yeah.
Where's Kim? Oh, go check out the casinos.
You know what's funny is I don't gamble, but there's just so much else to do. Like, gambling is 2% of it.
Yeah.
It's the least of our worries.
I mean, I don't not gamble, but I'm not like a big gambler. But that's anyway. But so we're really excited about the Vegas team and what that's going to look like. And, you never know what is going to happen, like what life's going to bring.
Right.
Yeah.
But I really feel like don't feel like I ever had any reason to ever leave here again. Like, tried that, and I tell you this, I will never, ever own a brokerage again. I will never own a brokerage again.
You heard it here.
You heard it here.
Okay, but here's the thing. If you did, I would help you.
You helped me the last time.
I know, but not enough.
Clearly.
Not enough. I needed 6 more months. Oh, come on, 6.
Yeah.
I would support whatever you were
And
doing.
you did. And I have to say that too, just for everyone out there. This woman, when we told her, we said, hey, we're going to strike out on our own. I mean, we had a team of like 30 or something at that point. And it was just getting unwieldy to run it under someone else's brokerage, even yours. I mean, it was just getting unwieldy. And when we went to her and we said, we're gonna launch our own thing, so supportive, absolutely no hard feelings, no, it was like a mom, like she cried. It was like a mom like sending her kids off to the real world. Yeah. I mean, she throws a freaking party. Like, I mean, it was
a farewell party. Yeah, not many brokers do that. None of them.
No, most brokers have been like, okay, asshole, you're gonna fail. Call me when you do. And like, that's exactly what I had to do. Like, can you imagine? Like, if she had been that way about it, I would have been like, shit, she was right.
No, there is enough pie for everybody.
Yes,
and there really is enough
pie.
business.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's my favorite saying in this industry. There's enough pie.
There is, and I think some people say it, but they don't live it and they don't believe it.
Yeah.
And so it's not scary to see someone else succeed.
Yeah.
That's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm old. I'm a mom.
Yeah.
You want your kids to succeed. You want them to fly. You know what I mean? You don't wish any ill on them. And
But a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Not just on me, but I mean in general. Like, a lot of people in this industry, for lack of a better term, are full of a bunch of haterade.
Yeah.
On everyone else that's not them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I think that the innovation, the change that she's brought into the industry is remarkable.
Yeah.
And I think that we'll only see improvement on that because she's so in the forefront of everything that's going on in the industry and cutting edge and new stuff. And she's crazy, awesome, smart. And so I would pretty much follow her just about anywhere she would go.
Even Vegas.
Except for Vegas.
It's gonna be a new chapter, huh?
It is. And I mean, it'll be pretty hands off for me. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be down here. We'll probably run up there once a month, but we're installing a very capable team up there. So
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's exciting.
It's gonna give me an excuse to go to Vegas every month.
Business expense.
Totally. Absolutely.
Well, it's been an amazing interview. I think our time's almost up, but any final thoughts that you'd like to share? Susan, you'd like to share?
Honestly, that was the best final thought I could come up with. There's enough pie. There's enough pie. There really is.
Yeah.
Stop hating on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of you. Like,
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
You do
That's
you.
what I got
I'll
for
do
the
me.
world.
Yeah. 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 Let's play nice in the sandbox.
Exactly.
And if something new develops and it's innovative, let's not be afraid. Let's figure it out together and then collaborate and make it happen for everybody
Right.
instead of just one group of people. Let's bring that to everybody.
Yeah.
We can change this industry with people like her, you know? So it's an honor and a privilege, and I'm happy. I'm a happy girl. She's my girl crush. She's my contract crush. That's all I can say. It's Kim Steele.
Well, I think you guys said it best, and to have both of you on the show, like I said, I'm a big fan of you, of Chris, Susan. So I fanboyed out today, and I had a good time. And but I think it sums it up is that
Mutual.
this is a brokerage of collaboration, and this is a brokerage that is changing people's lives because I've seen a lot of people come through here and they leave a lot better, or they end up being a lot better.
Yeah.
And so thank you for creating that culture here at the office. And so for the agents that are looking for a home or a place to call a home, make sure you check out Signature Real Estate Group in Murrieta off of Los Alamos. And maybe join Kim Steele's team. Maybe wear a red tie. Just kidding, that's trademarked. But thank you for putting on a great brokerage, and thank you for being a great example for all of us here at the Signature Real Estate.
Thank you.
And that's it for this episode of Signature Real Estate Group's Spotlight Studio, and with Kim Steele, Miss Susan Ebert, and the bald guy in the red tie saying, see you in escrow. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.